So I'm going to be touching on like a very so-so-y topic this video that a lot of people are kind of conflicted on. Well, people who think about it definitely have conflicting and set-in views on it. And the topic is basically, is innocent until proven guilty the right standpoint for every case? And by proven guilty, I mean by, standard court procedure of a court of law and by a jury of unanimous vote. So is that the right procedure? Of course, it's a great system to prevent, injustice, wrongful persecution, and just social stigma around people accused but not convicted, and then later proven innocent but still carry, the label of being a criminal that they were never outside of legal, just in social life. So it's definitely good for that, but it does have its downsides. Just play devil's advocate for the other side. Definitely there are cases where, one, without the court of justice, it is blatantly obvious that the accused are guilty, certain cases, and of course you can't jump to that thing. But in lots of cases where that's the innate feeling you have, it's not a jump, because there is evidence, be it circumstantial or coincidental, that isn't prosecutable but is blatantly clear that they are guilty, but then they end up being clearly to just the common eye being guilty, but because it's not prosecutable by law, they get the privileges of a free, innocent person and a valued party when they are, a criminal in the case of everyone's eyes that they can see, and they go on to be proven guilty. So why did they get that in the beginning when, we knew, even if we hadn't verdicted it yet? Another side of it is being innocent until proven guilty, still socially as an innocent person. Innocent person, you will be persecuted if you're involved in any criminal case. Even it's just the stigma around it. So upholding this to prevent that is just pointless, because it doesn't prevent it. It still happens, and it is bound to happen, just because any person who is in any way involved in that is going to get the viewed predisposition of being a bad person if they're involved in criminal situation, of course, and being brought to court. The reason I wanted to just touch on this topic is because there are so many people, especially famous people, powerful people in politics, who are definitely you can tell from just looking at the circumstance and situation, are guilty of certain crimes, but they avoid prosecution, one, because the evidence is not the valid kind of, of mens res and guilty minds and guilty act, but it's more circumstantial and coincidence evidence, so they can't be prosecuted on that, and also because they are seen as innocent when just looking can tell that there's no way they can be innocent. You don't need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no doubt. They still get the privileges of innocent party being, questions and stuff when they are blatantly innocent. And a lot of people in these sort of positions up high, when they get that guise of innocence before what would be proven guilty, they get to use that time where it is wide knowledge or accepted knowledge of those who look into it that they're guilty. They can use that time to clean up and sweep all up to the point where it comes prosecution by a legal court. They don't seem as guilty because they have cleared up that sort of circumstantial evidence with things like settlements and NDAs and such, those things that come out a lot later when they were guilty from the start, but having them under the guise of innocent until proven guilty just prevented their own conviction, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying it's a good idea, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, I'm just giving two takes on it. I'm saying that of course it can help prevent problems in social situations and, injustice, but also, especially with high profile people in criminal situations, it can be a bad thing that they are instantly assumed innocent until guilty. Because I think assuming someone as guilty, but having the whole court process be flip-flopped and having to prove their innocence rather than their guilt would, one, promote a better work system in court, because they'd have to work harder for it, so there would be more work done and there was less likely mistake. But also then there's the side where people don't do work and people aren't proven innocent because people don't look deep enough. But besides from that, in an ideal world, if that was the situation and people worked their jobs as they should, it would be good. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That, and there's one more thing. What was the other thing? A lot less people would end up getting away with crimes that, you know, circumstantially they are blatantly obvious of, but so prosecutable evidence is a bit wavery on it, you know? So that's what I just wanted to talk about. It's just something I think about a lot. So what do you think? Should we keep the system? Because, you know, it does work sometimes, but it doesn't work. And any system we have is going to be that way. It's not going to work 100% of the times. But I'm just saying, is it proportionally could it be proportionally better if we started using this? But I don't know, because it has its good sides and its upsides. So I'm not saying we must use this, and I'm not saying we shouldn't use this. I'm just putting them together.